A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to our Monday's class. Jazakumullah everyone for arriving early. And let's start our class with our Monday's dua. If I can have a student to the mic, please.
Can G2720 please unmute themselves?
Assalamu alaikum G2720.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, and Jazakumullah for asking. Let's start with Tauz. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
And Tasmiyah. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
Very nice. Now, if you could repeat after me. Rabbi shrah li
Rabbi shrah li
sadri
sadri
wa yassir li
wa yassir li
amri.
amri.
Very nice. Could you please read the translation?
O Lord, expand my mind and make my task easy for me.
Very nice. And it's from Surah Taha, and the verses are 26 to 27. Jazakumullah G2720. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, let's go through our etiquettes of our class. You should be thinking that we are in a mosque environment, and you should have done your ablution, your wuzu, and you should be wearing clean clothes, and your head should be covered. Please make sure you're sitting in a quiet place, and a parent is present, and make sure to use your correct ID. If you are not using your correct ID, you might be placed in the waiting room. And if you don't have your correct ID, then please mail on this email address, ukquranclass@gmail.com, and inshallah you will get your ID. Okay, now let me just make a few announcements. There will be a Google form for attendance in the chat box. Please make sure that you fill it in and mark your attendance for today. Also, just a reminder that there will be a Muslim Jalsa on Friday, and we have received your entries, and inshallah we will let you know soon who is being selected. Okay, now let's go on to the schedule of today. We have had our assembly and the opening dua and announcements, and we will go on now after this to learn about Maddeleen, and we will focus on Vowleen today. And then we will have our practice text, which is 99 and 102 and 105. We will try to cover those as much as we can. And then we will have the in charge of G2 today to make do a presentation about the importance of daily tilawat and about QRS part 1. After this, we will go on to back to our practice text, and at 6:50 we will inshallah consolidate, and I will announce the homework, and we will inshallah be finishing with our closing dua. Okay, now let's go on to our Maddeleen rule in focus. Right, so Maddeleen, as you can see here, means soft elongation. Okay, now let me just read out this text and I will explain as I go along. Leen means to ease or to soften. In the rules of recitation, if Waw and Ya are strokeless or sakin meaning there is a sukoon sign on top of a letter, okay, like this, and preceded by a consonant, bearing a stroke of fatha. So preceded meaning if there is before this the vowel with the sukoon sign, if before that there is a letter which carries a fatha, just like here there is vaw and it carries a sukoon sign, and before it, preceding it, there is a letter carrying a fatha. Okay, and this is what we should be looking out if you're looking for lean, for the rule of lean. Okay, so preceded by a consonant bearing a stroke of fatha, they are called al-haruf al-lean, letters of ease. In the above Quranic example, both types can be seen. So today we will just be covering vowel lean, but there is vowel lean and ya lean. But just here, let's start from here. Here we have vaw carrying a sukoon sign, vaw sakin, and before it we have an alif which carries a fatha, and this is how we should be reading it. Aw, aw. Okay, so we're joining it to it and we're just prolonging it a little bit. Okay, now again here we have the same. Let's go on to this one. Okay, so we have a ha with a fatha, and after it we have vaw carrying a sukoon sign. So we know that this is haruf al-lean. So it will be pronounced how. Okay, again, similarly here, yaw. So looking out for a fatha and then a vaw which carries a sukoon sign. Again here, aw. And here we have how. Yaw. Okay, let me see if we can find any examples for vowel. Okay, yeah. If I could have a student to the mic, please.
Can G2736 please unmute themselves?
Assalamu alaikum, G2736.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today?
TK.
Alhamdulillah. Great. So we have been learning about vowel, and this is an example of vowel. Do you want to go and try to read this?
Yes.
Okay.
Ow.
Very nice. Try again.
Ow.
Very nice. That's it. So what do we look for when we are looking for a lean, vowel lean?
We
Look for a vowel with the sukoon sign, and preceding it, before it, there is a letter carrying a fatha. But you have recognized it and you have read it correctly. Well done. Try and read this.
boo.
Try again. There is a fatha.
Boo.
There is a fatha.
Ba.
Yes. Now join on to the vowel.
Bow.
That's it. So that's what vowel lean is. You join on to the vowel and you read it softly and then just prolong it a little bit. Okay. Bow.
Bow.
Very nice. Okay. Now try and read this.
Tau.
That's it. Well done. Okay, now let's go on to this example. Oh no, actually we haven't covered this. Let's carry on and read this example.
Yaima.
Try again.
Yaima.
Okay, very nice try. Remember there is a vowel after the ya, so join the ya to the vowel.
Yauma.
That's it, well done. So which part of this here is the vowel-line?
The ya and the va.
Well done, that's it. Okay, now this example here.
Lao.
That's it, well done. Okay, Jazakumullah G2736. That was really nicely recited. Allah Hafiz.
Lafis.
Okay, let's have another student to practice.
Can G2726 please unmute themselves?
Assalamu alaikum G2726.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah, and Jazakumullah for asking. Okay, now, do you know what vowel-line is?
What was that?
Do you know what vowel-line is?
I forgot.
That's okay. So I'll just remind the rule for you here. So if there is a vowel, sakin, meaning there is a sukoon sign, which is this bit here, this top bit here,
Yeah.
on a vowel, and preceding it, meaning before it, just before it, there is a letter carrying a fatha, just like here. Okay? Then it is the rule of vowel-line. So what you do, you join onto the vowel softly, and then you prolong it for a little bit, okay? For about 1.5 to 2 seconds, okay? So here we will read it. How. That's it. Well done. Could you read the whole bit for me, the whole example here?
Hawlahu.
Very nice. Okay, now this example here, which part is the vowel-line bit?
The one that has a sa and a waw.
Well done. So there is a vowel with a sukoon sign, and preceding it, before it, there is a sin carrying a fatha. So that's the rule. Okay. So do you want to try and read this example for me?
Okay. La sofa.
That's it. Very nice. Just prolong a tiny bit longer. The sofa.
La sofa.
That's it. Well done. Now, this example here, could you tell me which part is the vowel-line rule?
The part with the waw lim is the meme and the waw.
That's it. Well done. And try and read this example for me, please.
Al-mautu.
That's it. Well done. I could hear it that you prolonged it for a bit. That was really nice. Well done. Let's do one more example. This one.
Ghadaw.
That's it. Well done. Could you tell me what type of letter the ghain is?
It's a nasal sound.
It is. Do you remember we had letters in the first
Throat.
2 weeks? It is a throat letter. Well done. Ghain is a throat letter, and it's also a thick letter. So when we read it, we have to round our mouth a bit, okay? But you did read it correctly. Well done. Ghadaw.
Ghadaw.
Well done. G726. Jazakumullah, G2726. Allah, yes.
Can my brother read?
We're going on to our Quranic recitation. We can call him next. What's his number? What's his ID, please?
His ID is G2725.
Okay, I can request the support teacher to call him next. Jazakumullah, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay, now let's go on to our Holy Quran recitation. So today, our first surah is Surah Al-Zilzal. It's a Meccan surah, meaning it was revealed in Mecca. It's in part 30, and its chapter number is 99, and it has 9 verses. It has 1 ruku, and the order of revelation is 93. Okay, now let's start, and let's have a student to the mic.
Can G2725 please unmute themselves?
Assalamu alaikum, G2725.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today?
Good.
Alhamdulillah. I can hear an echo. If you are using another device in the same room, could you please move to a different place?
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah. All right, let's start with Thousand Tasmiyah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Very nice. Okay, now if you can follow after me.
Okay.
إذا زلزل
إذا زلزل
الأرض
الأرض
زلزالها.
زلزالها.
Very nice. Now remember, this dal here, it's pronounced really softly. When you touch your tongue to your upper teeth and then try to pronounce it.
Okay.
إذا. That's it. I could hear it now. Well done. Okay, it's a bit different to the za to the za here. Okay, this is the and this is zu. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Well done. Okay. Now, do you want to try and recite from here to there?
Yes.
Okay.
وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها.
There is a fatha on the on the lam here. So أثقالها.
أثقالها.
Very nicely recited. Well done. Now, remember, the ra is also a bit rounded. When you read it, try to round your mouth. Okay? Ra.
Okay.
Well, okay. But if there is a fatha. And try to read this bit for me, please.
Okay. Athqa.
That's it. I could hear it now. I probably missed it before. I wasn't sure about the tha and the qa. Well done. You did pronounce it from your throat and you rounded it. Well done. Very nice. Let's recite one more verse.
Okay.
Yep.
وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا.
Very nice. Very nicely recited. I could hear the qaf from your throat. Well done. And you prolonged everything very nicely. Well done. If you could just follow after me, these 2 verses. So I can recite. And if everyone at home could recite after me as well. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ
وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ
أثقالها
أثقالها.
وقال الإنسان
وقال الإنسان
ما لها
ما لها.
Very nice. Jazakumullah G2725. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay. So let's carry on to the next student. If I could have another student to the mic, please.
Can G2704 please unmute themselves?
Assalamu alaikum G2704.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah, and jazakumullah for asking. Okay, now let's start with Thousand Tasmiyah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, so before we start reciting, if you see this verse starting from here,
Yeah.
just one second. Okay, from here and finishing here. Now we learned about vowel today. Can you see vowel in this verse somewhere?
Yes, it's at the start
Well done. Why is it a vowel? Can you tell me a bit more?
because when a vowel is a sucking letter and a letter before it has a fatha, you would read it. It means it's a vowel.
Well done. That was so nicely described and explained. Well done. Okay, so let me just try to raise this. Do you want to try and recite this verse?
Okay. يومئذ تحدث أخبارها.
Very nice. You prolonged everything really nicely, and you read this verse really nicely. Just about this tha here. Similarly, as with the dal, this tha is pronounced really softly. Okay. Again, touching your tongue to your upper teeth, and then try to pronounce it. Tu. Tu.
Tu.
That's it. I could hear it now. Well done. And with the vowel, you did it correctly. Just want to remind you, it's going to be prolonged for a little bit. Yo.
Yo.
Very nice. Okay. So if you can follow me and everyone at home as well. يومئذ تحدث
يومئذ تحدث
أخبارها.
أخبارها.
Okay. Do you want to recite the next verse?
Okay. بأن ربك أوحى لها.
Very nice. That was really nicely recited, and I like the prolongation of every letter, and you prolonged everything really nicely. Well done. And I could hear that you stopped in this here. You made a ghunna here, and you prolonged it a bit, which was really nice as well. Okay, if you can follow after me. بأن ربك
بأن ربك
أوحى لها.
أوحى لها.
Very nice. Okay, so what's the difference between this ha and this ha?
Does the first ha, which you have to prolong for 2 seconds, do you have to make the sound from your throat?
Exactly, yes, this first one.
Yeah. Yes.
So this comes from the middle of your throat. It's a throat letter as well. Okay, and this is not pronounced from your throat. Okay, so this is ha and this is ha. Okay.
Okay.
Well done. Great. Let's recite one more verse. Okay.
Okay. يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم.
أعمالهم. Well done. Very nicely recited. Now here, can you see any vowel rules in this verse?
y- yes, the first part.
This first part here.
Yes.
So waw sakin and a fatha letter before, and there is another one.
At the bottom where it says raw
Here.
over there. Yes.
Well done. Again, waw sakin and ra with the fatha. Well done. Very nice. Okay. Now, if you can recite after me. يومئذ يومئذ يصدر الناس
يومئذ يصدر الناس
أشتاتا ليروا
أشتاتا ليروا
أعمالهم.
أعمالهم.
Very nice. Jazakumullah G2704. That was really nicely recited. And you explained the vowel very nicely as well. Jazakumullah and Allah Hafiz.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Okay, if you can bear with me just 1 second. Okay. Right. So we can just recite 1 or 2 more verses. If I can have another student to the mic, please.
And G2604, please unmute themselves.
Assalamu alaikum G2604. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah, and jazakumullah for asking. Let's start with Thousand Tasniya. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Very beautifully recited. Well done. Okay, so do you want to recite after me this verse, and then everyone at home can do the same? فَمَن يَعْمَلْ
وَمَن يَعْمَلْ
مِثْقَالَ
مِثْقَالَ
ذَرَّةٍ
ذَرَّةٍ
خَيْرًا يَرَهُ.
خَيْرًا يَرَهُ.
Very nice. Very nicely recited. Okay, remember to make a nasal sound just here. Raya.
Raya.
That was better. Well done. Okay, let's carry on. وَمَن يَعْمَلْ
وَمَن يَعْمَلْ
مِثْقَالَ
مِثْقَالَ
ذَرَّةٍ
ذَرَّةٍ
شَرًّا يَرَهُ.
شَرًّا يَرَهُ.
Very nice. That was very nicely recited. Well done. And Jazakumullah G2604. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah. Okay, so I would like to hand over to our G2 in charge now. She will give a presentation about the importance of recitation of the Holy Quran.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay, so if you just bear with me, I'll share my screen. And here we are. Okay. Okay, so if I can just check that my screen is coming through okay?
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, well done. Okay, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Jazakumullah for being in class. It was really, really lovely to have heard some really, really lovely young, eager voices coming to the mic. And it's always really nice to hear young children reciting Quran. So today, at the beginning of the second part of our course, just after our half-term break, and I hope that you had a very nice break. I want to just discuss a few things about why you're here. So we're going to have a very short presentation about daily tilawat, the daily reading of your Holy Quran, and why it's really, really important for your well-being, for your health, your mental health, and general all-round well-being. Okay, so in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, it says, Alladhina ataynahumul kitab yatlunahu haqqa tilawatih. That's in chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 122. And it translated, it says, they to whom we have given the book recite it as it ought to be recited. And this is one of the reasons why you're here, to learn how to recite the Holy Quran in the way it ought to be recited, paying mind to all of the rules of tajweed, of correct recitation. That's what we're going through in this course. I'm teaching you. And it's because of the commandment in the Holy Quran that you have to recite the Holy Quran as it ought to be recited. So that's one of the reasons why you're here, so that you can learn the correct rules of recitation. Okay, so there is a hadith, and a hadith is something that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, and it was recorded in a collection of ahadith, Sahih Ibn Hibban, and it's hadith number 362 that you see on the screen. And the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, upon you is the recitation of the Quran and the remembrance of Allah, for it is light for you on the earth and a reserve for you in the heaven. So what the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was telling us, that actually reciting the Quran, reading the Quran, understanding the Quran, when we do that, we remember Allah, because those are Allah's words that we are reciting. When we do that, it shines a light as to how we should live our lives here on the earth. And it also helps us in the permanent life that we have when we move on. So it's something that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon us, be upon him, said to us that we ought to do. So he reinforced what was being said in the Holy Quran and reminded everybody how important it was to recite the Quran. Now, our beloved Huzur, like all of the Khulafa, reminds us of the importance of the Holy Quran. We are Muslims, and the Holy Quran is the word of Allah, and without reading it, we can't really call ourselves proper Muslims. And Huzur, in one of his sermons back on the 26th of March 2004, said that the Holy Quran should be learnt and recited. Those who know its meaning should teach it to others. So Huzur was basically saying, reminding us that we need to learn the Quran, we need to recite it. And those of us who are in the fortunate position of knowing, we should give our time to teach it to others. And this is why the teachers are here, to pass on the knowledge that they have. And that's why you're here. And inshallah, at some point in the future, the knowledge that you have, you will pass it on to others as well. Okay, so that's a little bit of background as to why you're here. Your mums and your dads all know this, and this is why they encourage you to come into the class, and you have to come in every day, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7, for the 10-11 weeks that we run this course, because they know how important it is. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the benefits of reading Quran, okay? And why daily tilawat, the daily reading of your Holy Quran, is so very, very important for your well-being. Now, if we think about things that we can see and things that we know, our body, every day, our body requires good food in order to develop and become strong and healthy. When we're born, we're little babies, and our mums and dads will give us milk. And then as we get older, we start to eat food. And as we get older, we start to eat ourselves. We have to eat good food in order to become strong and healthy and grow. Now, we all know this because we do this every day. Where does that food come from? Well, Allah has provided us with all the food and water that we need. We need to eat good food to stay strong and healthy. Allah has provided it for us because Allah knows that that's what we need. Now, we don't just eat once or twice and that's it. We leave eating and drinking for days or weeks or months. Eating and drinking is a lifelong, continuous journey. We have to eat and drink regularly. We have to repeat eating and drinking every single day. We can't take a break from it for long, long periods of time because we will become unwell. So eating and drinking is an essential part of our daily routine if we are to stay healthy, if we are to grow, if we are to develop. Now, we all know this. We know when we haven't eaten, how tired we feel. Sometimes we get really grumpy. When we're thirsty, we feel uncomfortable. Eating and drinking is something that we need to do. And if we don't do it, we feel unwell. It's very easy to understand how food affects us, how water affects us. Now let's think about our soul, that really important part of ourselves that we don't physically see. Now our soul, just like our body, it also requires food to develop and become strong and healthy. But it doesn't require food as in chapatis and salan and all the other nice things that we can have. It requires spiritual food. Now, just in the same way as Allah has provided us with all the physical food and water that we need, Allah has also provided us with all the spiritual food that we need in order to keep our souls strong and healthy. And that spiritual food is the Holy Quran, the words of Allah. And in the same way as eating and drinking is a lifelong, continuous journey that we have to do regularly on a daily basis, in the same way, reading the Holy Quran is a lifelong, continuous journey. We have to read it regularly. We have to read it every day and read as much as we can on a daily basis. And that's why tilawat, the reading of the Holy Quran, it's an essential part of our daily routine if we are to keep our soul healthy. Daily tilawat is extremely important for our health and well-being. And we mustn't forget that. Always remember how you feel when you don't eat and drink properly, how unwell you can feel. Imagine that that is how your soul will feel if you don't read the words of Allah on a daily basis. And it's important to do. It affects our health. And you should think of the Holy Quran as food for your soul, just like fruit and vegetables and meat and all the other good things that we eat. They're important for our healthy body. So reading the Quran is sustenance for our soul. It's food for our soul. It's as important as food is. Okay, so in order to read the Holy Quran, in order to do it on a daily basis, we have to make a routine, and we have to read as much as we can, and we have to do other things as well. And so how to go about making a good routine? Well, the Holy Quran has been divided up into various different portions, and I'm just going to tell you about some of them so that you can try and work out a nice routine for yourselves as to how much to read on a daily basis. So one of the ways that the Holy Quran has been divided up is in verses. Allah the Exalted has divided the text of the Holy Quran into verses, or ayat in Arabic. Ayah is one verse and ayat is the plural. So many verses is ayat in Arabic. Verse number 283 in Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest verse in the Holy Quran. And altogether, there are 6,348 verses in your journey through the Quran. So that's one way that the Quran has been divided up. And that's a division that Allah the Exalted himself has made. Another division is chapters. Allah the Exalted has divided the text of the Holy Quran into chapters. And in Arabic is surah. Okay, that is the plural. One surah, one chapter, the plural is surah. Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest chapter in the Holy Quran, and Surah Al-Kawthar is the shortest chapter in the Holy Quran. And altogether, there are 114 chapters in your journey through the Holy Quran. Now, another way of dividing up the Quran is something called rukus. And this is something that experts in the knowledge of Quranic recitation have done. Okay, so they've divided the text of the chapters into sections. And one section of a chapter is known as a ruku. Now, in part 30, the short chapters that you have in part 30, most of those have one ruku each. All other chapters have more than one ruku. And altogether, there are 558 rukus in your journey through the Holy Quran. So these are different ways that you can say on a daily basis, I'm going to read this many verses a day, or you can decide I'm going to read this many chapters a day, or I'm going to read this many rukus a day. Another way that the Quran has been divided up is what is known as parts. And the Quranic text has been divided almost equally into 30 parts. And one part is called a para or a sabara in Urdu, and in Arabic is known as al-juz. That's a singular. If you have many parts, then it's ajza. That's the plural of al-juz. And it's been divided into 30 parts so that if you wanted to read all 30 parts, one a day, you could read it in a month, because a month is roughly 30 days. So there's 30 parts in your journey through the Holy Quran. Now there is another way of dividing up the Holy Quran, and that's manazil. The Quranic text has been divided into 7 portions so that when you've become really experienced and you can read really fast, you could, if you had the time, read the Holy Quran altogether, one complete full reading in 1 week. Now one portion is called al-manzil, and there are 7 of those in the Holy Quran. Saba manazil, and that's in Arabic. And saba, sabatun, is 7 in Arabic, and that's why we've got the word saba there. So there are 7 portions in the Holy Quran if you were to go and divide them in that way in your journey through the Holy Quran. Okay, so there's lots of ways that the Quran can be divided up, and you can use those different ways to decide how much you're going to read, and then you can keep a track of how much you're reading every day. Now, I want to talk a little bit about one of the ways that it's been divided up, and that's about the parts. The parts themselves, they can be divided up even further. If you have one part, okay, it's made up of two half parts. And in Arabic, a half part is known as al-hizb. So you have two al-hizb in one part. Now, a one part can also be divided up into four quarters. A ruba is 1/4 of one part. So, if you wanted to, you could decide that you could read one whole part a day, and then you would be able to read the Holy Quran altogether from start to finish in one complete month. But if you decided that you wanted to read half a part a day, then you would take 60 days because there are 60 half parts in the Holy Quran. And if you decided that you wanted to read just a quarter of a part a day, then that would take you 120 days to read one full reading of the Holy Quran. And 120 days is roughly 4 months. So you could, once you've learned how to read the Holy Quran, and once you become more fluent and you get a little bit faster, you could decide that you wanted to read a quarter part of a day, and you could slowly build yourself up. So the way that the Quran has been divided is designed so that it can help you to keep a track of how much you're reading, and you can get an idea of how long it will take you before you finish that particular round of reading. Okay, so now last half term, we were teaching you about different letters and the sounds that they make and how they're formed. And we asked you to memorize some of them. Now, in this half term, we're going to tell you about different parts. Okay, so in your journey through the Holy Quran, part 1 starts in Surah Al-Baqarah, and it starts at verse number 1 and it finishes at verse number 142. Part number 2 starts in Al-Baqarah from verse number 143. So for the very next verse from where the first part finishes, and it goes on to verse number 253. Part 3, then starts from verse number 254, and it goes to the next chapter, and it finishes at chapter 3, verse number 92. Similarly, there's part 4 and there's part 5. And in your journey through the Holy Quran, okay, that's the journey that you would make in the first 5 parts. Now, what I want to do is show you that what you see in the Arabic, say above part number 1, it says Alif Lam Mim. At part number 2, it says Sayaqulu. At part number 3, it says Tilka Rusul. Okay, I want to show you why those parts are called those. So if you just bear with me, I'll share my screen here. Okay, so here we have, if you just bear with me, I'll make that a little bit bigger. Okay, if I could just check with my colleague that Al-Islam is on the screen.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So here we have, I'll just use my mouse here, okay? This is up here, it says to you, chapter number 2, verse number 254, okay? Here. And it tells you here that this is the beginning of part 3. And if you look here, how it starts, Til Rusul. The first word, or the first couple of words of a part, that's usually what gives the part its name. Okay, now if I go to my other tab and I show you the beginning of part 2, up here you can see it's chapter number 2, verse number 140, well, I've typed in 144, but verse number 143, that's where part 2 starts. And if you look here, Sayaqulu, okay, Sayaqulu. This is the first, the start of part 2, and typically the first couple of words, the first word or first couple of words are what give the part its name. So on a daily basis, the teachers will point out to you where the parts start and where the parts end. Okay, and we just wanted to give you an idea as to how to now, as you're becoming more and more practiced in reading Quran, how to maybe decide how much you're going to read on a daily basis and help you in your journey through the Holy Quran. So I hope that was useful to you, and Jazakumullah for your time. And if I can now hand back to the day teacher. Jazakumullah.
Jazakumullah to G2 in charge for the very interesting presentation. Let me just start. Okay, now we can go on to our homework, and just to consolidate what we did today. So today we learned about Maddeleen, and we focused on vowel-leen. And remember that if vowel carries a sakun sign, or it's a vowel sakin, and just before it there is a letter carrying a fatha, it will be a vowel-leen, and you will prolong it for about 2 seconds. Okay, and today we had a practice at chapter number 102, and we had a really nice presentation by our G2 in charge today. Now, homework is to practice and apply the rules of today in your daily tilawat, and you just learned how important it is to do your daily tilawat as well. And make sure to think about the presentation and talk about it with your family as well. Okay, now if I could have a student to the mic for the end dua.
G2550, please unmute themselves.
Assalamu alaikum G2550.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, and Jazakumullah for asking. Now let's start with Thousand Tasmiyah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Very beautifully recited. Now, if you could follow after me, please. Waj'alhu
وَاجْعَلْهُ
li imaman wa
لي إماما
nuran wa
ونورا
hudan wa
وهدى
rahmah.
ورحمة.
Could you read the translation for me, please?
And make it for me the leader of the light, the guidance and the mercy.
Very nicely recited, and very nicely read, the translation read as well. Jazakumullah, and Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah.
Walaikum assalam. Okay, so this brings us to the end of our class today. Jazakumullah for joining. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.